All right, hello and welcome. Once again, my name is Nav. No yoga practice this time, no meditation practice this time. I want to restart what used to be my podcast. I've had a lot of thoughts and just things to talk about, so I can try to share my perspective on certain subjects. And I want to talk about running. For those of you that know me, I do run a decent amount nowadays. For those of you that don't know me, I was never really a runner. I was not a runner. But over the last year and a half, 2 years, my girlfriend has gotten me into running. I've probably run close to 1,000 kilometers this year, which for some seems like a lot, and for others that are more experienced runners might think it's not. I get asked very common questions. Do you like running? Why do you run? And it's a really tricky question to answer, because I get a lot of awkward turns because I don't feel that I run for my physical health. Yes, it comes with benefits for the body. I've noticed myself get stronger. Many people lose weight when they run, but I've managed to gain weight as I've run more. I feel that my lungs are stronger, my heart is stronger. So physically, the benefits are there, but that was never the reason that kept me going with running. I like to say that I run for my spiritual health. And here's what I mean. There's a lot of practices that I guess I've done in my life. Yoga, meditation. Before all that, combat sports, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. And there's one thing that all of these practices have in common when practiced very honestly, is that there is an absence of distraction. And I believe, spirit thrives in the absence of distraction. And it's in the most simple way. So much of our time is spent on technology, on our phones, namely, headphones, TV on, whatever it is. And none of that is there to distract you when you are on the wrestling mat. It's just you and another human being. When it's me on my yoga mat. When it's me sitting down to meditate. And over the last year or so, as I've gotten to at least appreciate running more and more, I do so quite commonly now, run without my headphones on. And if I can, I leave my phone at home. Absence of distraction. And we might have different terms for what the spirit is, where it is, what we relate it to. But I find that any activity that can be engaged in that is spiritually fulfilling is something that is hard to find nowadays and something that we should value and treasure. So I don't mean to frown upon someone if they run with music on. I still do it from time to time. But it's understanding that it comes at a cost. We might run with a playlist on, an album on, a podcast on. And yeah, the mind is learning. but the spirit takes a back seat as the body just moves. Mind is not fully present in the body. And as a result, we might lose a little bit of that connection to ourselves. So I've found that the experience of running for me has become more like a moving meditation. A meditation in which I am still smooth and steady with my breathing, but that I can feel my body running a bit more deeply. I think it comes from a place of healthy ignorance, that because we think we know how to walk, or because we know how to walk, we think we know how to run. But one of the things that I've learned since starting my running journey is that running is a skill. And for many of us, especially if we start this activity later in life, it is a skill that we're not that good at. Not just, the lungs and the heart and the muscles keeping up for a long run, but also technically, skillfully running. Since I started running in December of 2023, picked December to start running. What a strange thing. I've done a handful of races. In 2024, I did my very first race, which was a 15K. And then later on in the year, I did a half marathon, 21.1K. This year, I've done a 30K race in March. And just most recently, I finished my second half marathon in Vancouver. And I plan on doing one more race, this time being a trail race in October. But that's neither here or there. When I started off my running journey going for my 15K race, I was only running once or twice a week. And I made it to the finish line. I survived. And then starting that journey to, do I wish to go further into this, or is this one experience good enough? I decided I wanted to do it with some intention. If I am going to commit myself to running, I want to do it in a way that is fulfilling. And it's not just about chasing a faster time. Although as I've built up my strength within the discipline, my times have gotten faster, my body has gotten stronger. But that's besides the point. It requires us to do it in a sustainable way. Going slow. A lot of running is built on slow running. So for those of you unfamiliar, it's that zone 1, zone 2. And that just means very slow running. And the challenge with these runs for me is that, and maybe for others that practice the discipline of running, is that these runs are a bit boring. Because you're running at a slow pace, it's designed for the body to keep going. But when you're on the road for 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, for that long period of time, it's quite something to just be in your mind. And if you're listening to music, less so in the mind, but if you're just going without, say, your headphones for this odd time out, to be in your mind. But that is where the spirit part comes into play. As is with, say, a meditation practice, the mind never stops moving. We can slow it down over time, we can quiet it down, but it is natural that the mind thinks and does a lot in our day-to-day life. And when you're 2 hours into a run on a hot day, a humid day, and you're feeling dehydrated, that mind of yours will start to make a lot of noise. In our yoga practice, when we practice on the mat and hold postures for extended periods of time, same likewise, mind makes a lot of noise. When I've competed in a wrestling match and I've gotten taken down and scored on, mind makes a lot of noise. And how we respond to that voice matters. In a world nowadays where we're told to push harder, get stronger, do more, we often create inner resistance and end up in conflict with that voice. And what I've learned to do, and what I try to teach others to do, whether it's in the yoga practice, on our meditation cushion, or for me as I run, is to support what is happening in the mind, to not be at odds with it, but to try to see from a different perspective what the heck is going on. So kilometer 20, when you're on that road and the legs start to make some noise, sometimes the simplest thing to do is slow down. Instead of pushing harder, getting through the pain, sometimes it's just about taking a moment to pause, to give yourself that opportunity to reset, to take a few breaths, to soften the heart, to slow down the heart, and then go back in. So this act of treating running like a meditation, of limiting distractions, I encourage you to try these things from time to time. Next time you go to the gym, I see so many people at the gym with their headphones on. And once again, not to shame. I still, from time to time, work out with headphones on. But just try. Try to do these things that you do on a daily basis with one less filter on top. If you're going to go for a walk, simple walk, can you put away the phone? Can you maybe leave your phone at home? Can you leave your headphones at home? And just be present with the sensation of doing the activity, of hearing the sound of the breeze, as I'm doing right now, hearing the sound of birds if they're available. And you'll realize that as we heighten our awareness of one sense, in this case, my sense of hearing, it's not being blocked out by headphones. My sense of vision isn't being obscured by a phone. That we're able to shift our awareness into the world around us, to build that connection. That maybe you actually bring some awareness to your feet as you go for a walk, to feel the movement of your feet against the ground. Maybe as you go to the gym and lift your weights, that instead of pushing your body to do more, which you still can, you try to feel what it's like to do more. Engaging that mind-muscle connection. That when you eat, you don't do so every single time with the TV on, with the phone in front, but you eat mindfully from time to time, whether it's just a snack. So as much as this was a conversation about running, there's still so much else that this can be extrapolated to. And the hope is that if you're able to do one of these things, distraction-free, engaged, spiritual, being mindful and present, that there is every possibility of doing that with other things in your life. Going for a walk, going for a run, going to the gym, eating, doing the dishes. And the hope is that that's able to change your perspective on these mundane things that we do day to day, day after day. So I hope that made some sense. Unfiltered content typically has some tangents, and that's okay. But this is my perspective on running. Been doing it for about 2 years. It'll be 2 years coming up. And I definitely appreciate it. I'm at odds with it from time to time. Some days I want to go for a run. Most days I don't. I usually complain when I start running. The knees feel achy. Don't know how I'm going to run for as long as I plan on running. But then by the end of it, I don't regret it. And that might be the same with my yoga practice or my meditation practice. There might be a lot of things creating resistance within me of not wanting to do the practice, of not wanting to commit to the practice. But then I don't ever regret doing the practice. So I hope you learned something. If you enjoy this type of banter, please let me know. Otherwise, may you be able to find something that is spiritually fulfilling for you. And may you give your energy and attention to that thing to provide you with more meaning and fulfillment. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, live peacefully, live harmoniously, and I'll see you again soon. If you enjoyed this content, please follow me on Instagram, Nirvana with Nav, same as the YouTube channel. Leave your questions, comments, feedback below, and I'll see you again soon for maybe a yoga video, maybe a meditation practice, maybe a tutorial, maybe another bantering lecture.